Miletus on the edge of the Aegean. Sea once looked like nothing more than an ordinary trading city. Ships from Egypt, Phoenicia, and Lydia docked there, unloading their cargo: olive oil, purple cloth, spices, even ceramics. The sounds of bargaining echoed through the market, as if the city lived only from trade. But behind that bustle, something far greater was born. Not from swords, not from palaces, but from the mind of a man named Thales. For most people, the sea was only a source of livelihood or a dangerous passage tied to the wrath of the god Poseidon. But for Thales, the sea held the answer to the origin of everything. He observed that without water, plants died, animals vanished, and humans could not survive. Water was in the clouds, rivers, seas, and even inside living beings. From there, he concluded, water is the foundation of all things in the world. That simple statement sounded insane in his time. How could a merchant from a small city challenge the ancient myths that claimed the world was created by gods? Yet that was Thales' courage. He dared to ignite the first flame of knowledge amid the darkness of superstition. It was not a physical flame, but the fire of an idea that nature could be understood with reason, not only with myth or prayer. Over time, Thales' thought spread along with Miletus's merchant ships. Sailors told stories about the man who said the world could be understood through logic. Traders carried the idea to other cities until slowly, the spark from Miletus grew into a torch of civilization. And it all began with one man who dared to see the sea not as a mystery of the gods, but as a key to understanding the world. Miletus was not just a port city. It was a crossroads of the ancient world. From the east came Phoenician ships with letters that would later form the Greek alphabet. From the south, Egyptian traders brought papyrus, linen, and stories of the pyramids. From the north, the Lydians poured in their gold, introducing a coinage system that transformed trade. All of it met in the narrow streets of Miletus, filled with shouts of bargaining, the scent of spices, and the clinking of silver coins. Amid that mixture, something unseen was born: the exchange of ideas. Miletus traded not only goods, but also myths, stories, and knowledge. Young Ionians could hear tales of the star Sirius from Egypt, of ships sailing far west from Phoenicia, and of Lydian kings hoarding gold. To most, these were just rumors to pass the night. But to Thales, they were pieces of a great puzzle. He began to ask, if Egypt could build massive pyramids, what was their secret? If Phoenicians could sail vast seas, what guided them? If Lydia could measure gold so precisely, how did they calculate? These questions grew from curiosity, not from a thirst for power. Miletus, with its openness, gave Thales his intellectual fuel. Without this bustling port city, he might have remained only a merchant. But because he lived daily among ideas from abroad, his mind opened to a wider world. From Miletus, he learned that knowledge could be born through interaction, through exchange, through the courage to listen to the unfamiliar. No wonder when history later looked back, Miletus was remembered not merely as a trading post, but as the place where the torch of philosophy was first lit. And from this small city came ideas that shook kings and priests. When Thales set foot in Egypt, he saw a different world. Pyramids pierced the sky, temples carved with gods, and priests in white robes who guarded sacred knowledge. For Egyptians, the shadow of a pyramid was a mystery. For Thales, it was a puzzle waiting to be solved. One afternoon, he planted a stick in the sand and waited for the sun to lean. The shadows of the stick and the pyramid moved together, as if dancing under the sun. Calmly, he compared the length of the stick's shadow to its height, then measured the pyramid's shadow. From this simple comparison, he discovered a way to calculate the height of the giant structure without ever climbing it. The people were astonished, the priests silenced. Knowledge they had guarded for centuries was suddenly explained by a foreigner with a wooden stick. For Thales, it was not magic, but logic. He saw the sun as a giant ruler and shadows as numbers to be read. From that day, news of the stranger who measured pyramids with shadows spread across Egypt. Some admired him, others felt threatened. That small act was a great symbol. Knowledge could challenge authority. What was thought to be divine mystery could in fact be explained by human reason. Thales proved that even a merchant from a small city could unlock the secrets of a mighty civilization with simple logic. The nights in the Egyptian desert were not only beautiful, but also a laboratory for Thales. He sat on the cold sand, worn papyrus in his lap, eyes fixed on a sky full of stars. Egyptians saw constellations as signs of the gods. Thales saw them as patterns, something measurable. He recorded when a star appeared on the horizon, how long it stayed, and when it vanished. From these notes came his conviction. The movement of the heavens followed laws, not the whims of gods. With young students beside him, he said, "If we know the patterns, we can know when seasons arrive, when rivers will flood, even when the sun will be swallowed by the moon's shadow." His students stared in disbelief. An eclipse, long considered a sign of divine wrath, could suddenly be predicted by human calculation? That was a shattering idea. Priests who heard the rumor felt insulted. Prophecies they claimed as divine. Revelation were now reduced to the logic of a foreigner. But Thales was not looking for enemies. He only wanted to show that the world could be understood. In the silence of the night, he drew numbers, lines, and notes, as if the sky were an open book for anyone brave enough to use reason. Eventually, Thales' name reached King Alyattes of Lydia, ruler whose power rested on gold and swords, heard of a foreigner who claimed he could predict the sky. For the king, only priests had the right to interpret the stars. He summoned Thales to his palace. The hall glittered with gold. Soldiers stood firm and priests glared sharply. The king asked, "Is it true you dared to defy the voice of the gods?" Calmly, Thales answered, "I only read what is already written in the sky." His words were simple, yet full of challenge. A king used to obedience suddenly found himself facing a man without crown or army, armed only with logic. The priests whispered, calling Thales arrogant. But the king, curious, challenged him. "Prove it. If you speak truth, predict something yet to come." Thales accepted, and that promise would change history. That day, two great armies prepared to fight, Lydia and Media. Swords drawn, arrows ready, war drums thundered. Thales, who was present, had long warned, "Today the sun will vanish from the sky." No one believed him. Priests mocked, soldiers laughed, even the king dismissed it as nonsense. But as the first swords clashed, the light suddenly dimmed. Slowly, the sun was swallowed by the moon's shadow. The bright day turned dark. The armies froze. Arrows dropped. The drums fell silent. Fear spread like fire. People shouted, "The gods are angry!" But Thales stood calmly, looking up. He knew this was no divine wrath, but precise calculation. The eclipse he predicted became absolute proof. Knowledge could be stronger than swords. Logic could overcome fear. The battle stopped. Peace was signed. And all of it happened because one man dared to read the stars. After returning to Miletus, Thales remained an oddity. He had no palace, no gold hoard like a king. But one day he heard people sneer, "What use is your philosophy? Thales, if you remain poor?" Hearing this, he smiled. By watching the stars, he knew the next year would bring a great olive harvest. Quietly, he leased all the olive presses in the city. When harvest came, olives overflowed. Everyone scrambled for presses, and Thales controlled them all. Overnight, he became rich. Yet afterward, he gave up the profits and returned to his simple life. He wanted to prove philosophy was not useless, he simply did not seek wealth. Knowledge was the goal, not riches. Thales is remembered for one daring idea. All things come from water. For the ancient world, that was shocking. The gods were no longer the center of creation, but a simple element present everywhere. Water could become liquid, vapor, and solid. Water gave life to plants and animals. With water, Thales tried to explain the world without myth. Though it sounded simple, this was the seed of science. For the first time, someone tried to answer, what is the origin of the world? With reason, not sacred tales. From here, natural philosophy was born, which would later give rise to physics, chemistry, and cosmology. Thales' influence did not stop with him. He inspired a new generation, Anaximander, his student, who dared to say the world was born from the boundless, Anaximenes, who named air as the origin. From Miletus, this chain of thought spread across Greece, giving rise to great philosophy. Heraclitus, Pythagoras, Socrates, all began with Thales' courage to light the first fire. He may not have written books, but his ideas lived through students and stories. Philosophy was not mere theory, but a flame passed from teacher to student, from a small city to the world. Now, when we look back at history, Miletus is not just a trading city lost to time. It is the birthplace of civilization's torch. From that small harbor, Thales taught that the world could be understood through reason. From there came the courage to challenge kings, priests, even the superstitions that bound humanity. That torch still burns today. From the geometry he used in Egypt, to the astronomy he recorded in the desert, to the simple but revolutionary idea of water, these became foundations of modern science. Thales proved that a man without a crown, without an army, could change the face of the world with nothing but the courage to think.